Gotta do this. Hey, there we go. Hey, hello. Oh, look at that. I didn't even know. Look at my hair. I don't know what that is. I just had a shower and then I can't leave my hair down. It's just, anyways, don't talk about your hair, Mary. It's nothing about your hair. It's more important things that are going on in the world right now and the shenanigans that are going around above. So, um, mutable chaos. That's what we're going to call it. Mutable chaos. The world is in mutable chaos. We are in some crazy type of energy right now, and we want to go forward. There's my hair. My hair is wet. Um, it's what, almost 10 o'clock. I had a shower early. Anyways, it takes my hair 2 days to dry if I don't have a dryer. Just an FYI. I said I wouldn't talk about my hair. But this is I have to do my hair now on camera because I can see myself. Not that I couldn't see myself before, but anyways, there we go. There we go. So mutable chaos. That's what's going on. Big wants to go forward. Everybody wants to go forward. Everybody wants to, let's go. It's Leo season. Let's have a good time. Let's enjoy ourselves, right? That's what we want. And Mercury's retrograde. And I said, and I told people, get your little thingy for Mercury retrograde. Anyways, we're just going to leave it because I'm not going to do anything more. With Mercury retrograde, it's going to be a crazy Mercury retrograde. It's not, and I did think last week went over the types of energies that are coming in with this Mercury retrograde. So it's a reality that we're having to face, a reality of because Virgo's about structure, having things in order, wanting to do things the right way. It is the sign of service. We want to be of service to others. We want to make sure we're doing the right thing. And Mercury is coming in, and then we have Pluto at the end, and we have Uranus coming up to 27 degrees, and that's as far as it'll go this year before it goes retrograde, where we're starting to feel more of the extremes of the extremes, the chaos of the order. And where we thought there was order within our world, we thought everything was fine and we're moving forward, but there is so many signs that were there. So many signs, even within your own life. So if you look at things that are in your life, sometimes things just happen, like craziness happens and there's nothing you can do about it. Whether that's being hit by a car or something happens with the house or the hailstorm. We'll say that yesterday. So yesterday we got an emergency warning. And emergency warning, be prepared. Hail is coming in, hailstorms coming. Prepare and make sure that something about, and I saw, block up your windows and stuff like that. So people who live in a certain area in Calgary, mainly sort of the northwest, northeast, out by the airport. I mean, that's one area of Calgary I really wouldn't want to live in because that's where all the storms come in. And it's where they get, if there's a hailstorm or shit going to happen in Calgary, it's going to get hit out there. That's where people, car damage, everything. That hail coming through people's windows, just breaking the front windows, the plate glass windows, causing total chaos. And that's unexpected. You're not expecting, I don't expect hail to come through my window and shit like that. But the way the winds were blowing, it was very crazy and erratic last night. We just got a lot of, in our area, we just got a lot of rain. Some areas got more damage than other areas. And that's something really you can't there's nothing you can do about it. Eddie got the shit beat out of him in Balls. Yeah, but not as bad as what happened in Coventry. Yeah, and that's that area. That's that area of the Northwest, right? So those are Northwest, that area. It's fucked up. Just saying, it's just really fucked up. Um, and there are areas that'll get hit really bad. But this is this mutable energy. This is this mutable chaos. There's some things that you just can't control, right? And they just happen. And then you have to deal with the aftermath. There's other things that we have seen that could have been controlled or can be controlled, yet nothing's been done about it, or the line or what is being told is, well, this is a good thing, this is what this is going to do for all of us, it's going to be beneficial. But reality's having to face it now with Mercury retrograde, and it's going to go over Venus in the next day. This is where reality, the challenges, nothing will be easy. And with Saturn, it's to flow with it. It's learning how to flow with it, learning how to take things step by step in the things that we can control. There's going to be a lot that is going to be out of our control, and we will not be able to do anything about that. Whether that has to be things we can control, we can control ourselves. We can control how we react to something. We are able to look at what our emotions are when something happens and how we are embracing those emotions and working with those emotions and feelings we have. Those are the things we can control. And that's part of the energy right now. And especially with Mercury retrograde in Virgo, is saying that, okay, this is what we can do. Other things, if we can't control it, it's out of our hands, then we got to give it up to the Holy Spirit and ask for inner peace and a miracle, because there's not much else we can do. There is fog. There's a lot of fogginess that's coming in, and there's a lot of new facts, and it's shifting things rapidly. And we are living in a time where information comes instantaneously. So, for instance, hail's coming in, breaking your windows. People had their phones out, they were filming instantaneous. I got proof this is what happened, right? They know. Now, what's happening in other areas and things that are happening in and around the world, we're instantaneously being shown exactly what's happening. Exactly what's happening. And as we're being shown, we're just like, okay. Yet there is and especially with where everything is and where Pluto is at the end of Aquarius, and it's going to come back into Capricorn, is that we want to move forward. We want to create new things and have, a good life. But Pluto going back in September, and it's preparing us right now. As it goes back, it's going to go in because the great chaos is going to start happening when it comes to our money system, when it comes to our governments, when it comes to other things that are going to be affecting us. And we are going to start seeing it more. And with the sun in Leo, trying to hold things. It's trying to hold things, and it's the only person in Leo right now. And it's trying, like, I want to hold this because I don't want to cause any chaos. I don't want to cause any craziness. I want to keep order. That's what I want to do. So the sun wants to keep order. But everything else is going crazy in and around it, and it's mutable, and it's all of this craziness. We're seeing it in the UK. The UK is it's going to get worse before it gets better. In the UK and in Europe, I'm going to say things are just going to start to get crazier. And we're going to start witnessing it. And we're going to start witnessing it as the fall comes and as we go forward, even in Canada, because people are frustrated. People are overwhelmed. People are like, they're wanting to be nice, they're wanting to be, but there's a narrative that is there. And we're seeing this, what they call two-tier system coming forward, where it is right for them, but not for you. They can do it, but you can't. We kind of saw if you had siblings, well, you know, the older siblings always, they got more restrictions put upon them. Then came the little one who was able to get away with everything. They're just like, what? We couldn't do that when we were little. What? We couldn't get, why can they do? Why are you punishing her or him? And that's sort of what we're seeing, but it's in a little bit worse case scenario. And this is where a big pop we want to have, but we have to do a lot of things within our mundane world. We got to get ourselves really grounded. We got to get ourselves situated in a way, in a positive way that brings in a sense of understanding, a sense of peace, and new routines and old ways of doing this. So we're trying to get, the old routines are there. When it comes to the money factor, when it comes to, and this is where you can't get panicky about things that are happening right now, but this is where, okay, what can I get in order right now? We're going to be witnessing, especially over the next, Mercury's retrograde. So I'm going to say things are really, and then when Pluto goes into where people's lines of credit are going to be cut, your credit cards are going to be cut. This is where it's going to be harder for you to get loans and get things and do things that you want to do. So this is all about, okay, I need to really start looking at getting my house in order. And seeing what that means for each individual person. If you're not getting that, if you're not doing that at this time, you're going to find, especially as we're getting into the fall, because right now, here comes Leo. I want to get things under control. Everything's just going crazy. And it feels like throwing the baby out with the bathwater. This is where cleanup is going to have to happen. And it's going to bring in some really weird shit. And this is where some other chaos and disruptions that are going to come in to our world. And this is just it's been happening for a long time, but this is kind of like where somebody's coming in with a 2x4 and hitting people on the side of the head. Are you fucking woken? Did you wake up yet? Do you know this? So no matter what, we have to look at the details within our life. We have quite a few yods and they're with the moon. So they're going to happen for 4 to 6 hours. So we're going to be seeing a constant shift and change in the world that we live in, the understanding. I really don't think the government in the UK is going to last very long. They're very good at ousting out their prime ministers in the UK. Haven't heard from the king yet, which is interesting. Haven't heard anything from the royal family because they're the ones that can have power in the UK to dissolve things. I know we want it to happen here, but anyways, but we have to understand the spiritual guidance that we have to take in. Where is the good things? Where is the good things like the money, the relationships that we have in our life? And that's what we have to that's what we have to focus on and look at where we need to shift in different things that may need to evolve, that may need to change, and what we need to create. There is no perfect answer here. There is no perfect answer. But it is going to get stressed trying to find it. If you're trying to find that perfectness, and that's what Virgo does. So Virgo, and with Venus there, because Venus wants to weigh out options. You want this, you want that, and here's Venus in Virgo. Well, I'm not too sure. Maybe this, maybe I don't know. And then Mercury retrograde, trying to make it that perfection, trying to make that. And the first thing I think of is, when I worked at Community Natural Foods, I worked around, like, there was like 6 of them, even my boss, because I was the assistant. was a Virgo, and everybody she hired was fucking Virgos. And I'm like, oh, fuck me. I'm the Scorpio here. And they would want, like, they would take an aisle and rearrange it and perfect it and blah, blah, blah. I'd be like, holy shit. Like, I think that's a little bit overkill, but I mean, okay, if that's what you want to do. Hence, it was very difficult for me to work there. Loved it. Loved the information and the things I did, but anyways, but that perfection. But then having something come in or someone come in and say, no, that's not the way we're doing it. Right? That's not the way we're doing it. We're doing it this way. And not communicating it to a way that they understand is going to get people upset and cause the chaos and the disruptions that they're going to see. And people are going to be like, what do you mean we can't do it that way? I want it done that way. Rawr! We have the right. You've been giving me the rights all this time, and now you want to take them away? Yeah, we want to take them away because of the disruption. And that's where where all the unsettling is starting to rise up. And part of that rising up, and it's not, it's not to go crazy and break windows and everything else and cause chaos, but this is where people's frustrations in the world, in what their world is and how their world is looking. So the craziness of the frustration of the financial system, the drop, and this isn't just in the United States or Canada, this is worldwide. So we're starting to see a chaos in the world when it comes to the financials. It's not going the way it's supposed to go. They said these changes are supposed to be every 10 years, and now they're every 5. This is where, when a structure is supposed to be built a certain way, all of a sudden that holding isn't there anymore. And that causes the frustration. Now, Virgo, we want the process, the things to work a certain way, the change and evolving. But this is where we have to come in with the compassion and forgiveness, not only for ourselves, but those around us, in order for us to bring in more peace and kindness. But it's difficult. It's difficult because there's a lot of stress on ourselves and a lot of critical. So being critical. And with that Venus and Mercury, we don't take it with a closed mind. We got to open our mind up. We got to allow for this change, these disruptions to unfold, because it's showing us more of the cracks and the things that are not working in this world anymore. And the narrative that has been spat out to us after, more and more is coming out. And this is where we can't be triggered. Being triggered on oh, this is, kind of like choosing sides. You can't be triggered. And the moon is going to be making some weird energy, and especially later on this week as it goes into Libra, and then it's going to be in Scorpio this weekend, and it's going to be squaring the sun. This is where we have to find fun and happiness in doing the adjustments. This is where we have to, look at how these changes have to happen, and this awakening has to happen in order to create something better and something more harmonious. And this is where a learning process is coming in, and so much is trying to hold on to an old narrative that no longer works. But Pluto going back into Capricorn is going to make it even more disastrous. Meaning it's saying, okay, you guys thought this was a good thing. Well, I'm going to show you it wasn't. I'm going to show you more of the corruptions, more of what you thought was the right way of doing things. So we're going to be looking at a goodbye to the old world, our own lives. This is where we're going to be saying goodbye to it, but yet we are going to see glimpses of things coming back that are going to say to us, you know what? Do you see that this didn't work? And as we are doing that, this is where, again, we got to come into that compassion. We got to come into that forgiveness. forgiveness of ourselves, and allowing for forgiveness of others. So this is cutting down a lot um, of the actual change that is there. And it's this mutable craziness that's coming in. And how we want to create, we want to manifest, we want to come in. But Pluto is coming in with this massive extremes, these massive extremes that are coming in that are getting us to shake and wake up with all of this and hidden elements. So if you get too lost, problematic, or feeling overwhelmed, this again, this is, for us to really come back into that centeredness of everything. Now, what's happening in the world, and sometimes we feel that that we will be okay. But again, information, things are coming in, the cracks are being shown. And in the UK, a few things that I've seen is a lot of women my age or older are coming out and protesting and saying, no, this isn't right. We have to make some changes here. It's like these are people who have worked all their life, live off a pension, a very small pension, yet are finding that people that just come in get all of this, and you've worked for a lot and you're not receiving, you're getting the short end of the stick. You're the one who is getting pushed to the side and rejected. And that's where a lot of animosity, a lot of disruption are going to be seen. And we're going to be seeing that in Canada over the next coming months as well. And that's because people are getting very frustrated. We're starting to see that frustration come through where, and years ago, I'm going to tell a story. Hang on, tell a story. When we called them the boat people from Cambodia were coming in. And it was where churches would come together, people would come together and would help the families to come in. And it's usually, and it would be a grandma, a grandpa, mom, dad, and children all coming in. And we would, I remember fixing up their townhouse and getting their townhouse all together. And pots and pans, everything. Like they were coming with nothing. So we got everything. And we even I got gift certificates for them to go to like Zellers and stuff like that, to go shopping for clothing and things along that line. And but it was a community effort that was really done on a real grassroots level. And I'm trying to think when I'm trying to think Croatia. When the people of Croatia came into Canada and they couldn't speak any English. Again, it was a grassroots program that got together to help those people, because you think that, okay, you're coming in from a different country like Croatia, and the letters are different, right? And how they're, their letters, they're different than our letters. They're A and B and whatever. So when you're going to go buy a bottle of shampoo, it's like you don't know what's shampoo and what's conditioner, right? And trying to show them or teach them. But it was a grassroots effort of helping them. Now it's like open the doors. But this is where and the one couple that I remember helping, and she was telling her story. I think she had a son that was the same age as as I think Dom or Eddie, or he was in between Dom and Eddie. But she when we're sitting down, we were having tea, and I was there with my girlfriend Margaret, and she was telling us that how they lost everything. Like her husband had a very good, um, she goes, it was like she goes, a junkyard, and he would, bring in metal, metal work and stuff like that, and buy metal and stuff like that. Very profitable business. She goes, it wasn't like they're rich, but that was their business. That's what, his father did, and and they worked. But then all of a sudden, uh the war broke out and they had to flee. And she goes, it was in the middle of the night and they had to flee into the bushes, all of the family, and run. Some of the family were killed. And then it was through getting into a refugee camp and the Canadian embassy. When they came over to Canada, and here's the difference is what we're finding. And I'm not saying all of the ones that are coming in, but what we are witnessing right now and what we are seeing coming onto the streets, the appreciation of coming in. And that's where right now, understanding that there are beautiful people that want to come in and create and make something really beautiful, because that's what they did. First generation family, very, trying to make it, really can't speak, really good English. Their children ended up learning English. Now their children who are born here are integrated, understand where their family came from, but have integrated. Here we're finding that that's not so. And anything that they received, and she said, anything I received from the government, we have to keep the receipts. And she goes, we have to pay that back. We have to pay that money back to the government. And I think that's part of the mutability that's coming in and the frustration that's coming in, where we've seen where things have worked really well in the past in creating a new world, a harmonious world. And somehow there was a divergence, a road went off that, and wanting to dismantle and cause disharmony and see how they, a centralized entity wanting to control things, and how they are doing to get that control with it. And the frustration's there because people want their voice. They want to live in harmony with people. They want to create a world with other people. Yet division comes in. And that's what we're seeing. And that mutability is causing more of a division, more of a craziness. And especially if you get into that craziness because someone just came down your aisle and decided to do it differently. Instead of taking a step back and saying, okay, how are they doing it? Is that going to benefit me? Can I adapt this? Can I take this criticism that's coming in? Or am I going to get radically crazy and start to cause chaos? And that's where, especially with Mercury retrograde and with Venus and with all of these extreme planets at the end and at these end degrees, is getting us to look at how can we come into a flow of peace. How can we come into a flow of compassion and bring back hope into our world? And that's where the importance is, because we are going to see a lot of physical changes that are going to be coming out, and a lot of crazy mass chaos from that. But that's how we have to come back in. It's like when you're baking a cake, sometimes you want to get everything into the bowl, but you get flour somewhere, you get chocolate somewhere, the sugar spills, or you put the blender on and you splatter, you put it on too high and it splatters. Things happen. Chaos is happening. But it's how we are going to embrace it, how we are going to create something different from it. And I think there's been so much coming out that even from our truckers who wanted to bring in peaceful, bring Canada together in a very peaceful, loving way. Same in England. They've had, where they wanted to bring in and show the pride of being British, show the pride of being Irish and Scottish and Welsh, like show that harmony. And you got countries like Poland, Hungary, Czechoslovakia that are saying no. Even some countries in the Netherlands saying no, we don't want to dismantle who we are. We still want to embrace who we are. And that's the beauty of that's a beautiful thing, because we're coming to a point, and we're going to be seeing it here, that we have to come to a place where we got a lot of problems here in Canada, and we got to look at what we can fix here. And that's why there's so much chaos. I mean, when somebody can come in and then each person in their household can get $84 per meal per day, I mean, hell. And get an allowance of over $6,700 a day. And then we have people on old age security aren't even bringing in $1,300 a month, and others that are coming in and they don't have to pay it back. And that's the difference. And that's where frustration and the mutable energy is coming in that's causing the chaos. And this is where it's like, okay, we got to make some changes here, because when Pluto goes back into Capricorn, that's where the cracks and everything that's going to come in with the powers that be, that are going to show you that we can't carry on this way anymore. And I know many of us want to go back to the old ways and go back, and that's what we are trying to sort of squeeze back into. But it's like, you know, yeah, this is where it's like trying to it's try maybe some people can, but it's trying to get back into your wedding gown after 60 years of marriage or 30 years of marriage or whatever, and you're wanting to get back into that wedding dress, and it's like, I can't even pull it over my butt. Things change, waistlines grow. But that's where we're at. It's like this craziness, this frustration, where we have to come back into a place of compassion so that we can bring in the change in hopefully a more harmonious way. But as I'm seeing it, that that people who are wanting to bring in the harmony of it, right, are going to be the pillars as the chaos disrupts. Very oppressive. It is. And that's all part of the mutability. That's all part of the change that's coming forward. And this change and craziness that's unfolding, where we as the light workers are the pillars to hold, to continue to let people know that there is hope, that there is compassion, that there is a place where we can bring in a balance. But you can't bring in the balance if you are wanting hatred, if you are wanting to oppress somebody else for your gain. And that's the imbalance that we're having. It'll never be a perfect system because we don't live in a perfect world. No flower that you pick is perfect. It just looks beautiful because it's a beautiful flower. But there's the imperfections that are in it that help to bring in that beauty. And that's where the acceptance has to come in. And coming forth, where I've talked to many, and they're calling themselves ex-Muslims, that are coming forward and starting to speak out. But when they do, they are also, in speaking out, it's they've lost family, they lose friends, they if they speak out too loud, they could get a target put upon them. But they know that they have to, in order to let people know the other side, and even let other people know that there's a way out, that there is a place where they can go to get the help that they need. It's this week, and with Mercury retrograde, the chaos is there, the oppression is there, but we got to be the light that holds the goodness and the hope and the peace. and bring in the prayers so that we can continue on. We're in a struggle, but that's okay. Out of the struggle comes greatness. Out of the struggle is going to bring in harmony, but we're going to be in it for a while. Just saying. All right. And being in it means that's going to give us that determination that we'll need to go forward. And especially in making sure that children are properly educated by the parents, not by the system. And that's a big one. So making sure that, because kids are inundated with so much craziness right now and misinformation. And that's where, again, bringing in some stability within the home when it comes to your meditation and prayers, so that children know that, okay, this isn't right. Okay, it's right over here. We're coming in with love. So we'll end it on that note. I'll pull out a card for us all. I'm going to just pull out one because I got to get going. So the first quarter square we're going to be coming up to officially is on Monday. So I'm just laying the ground. I'm just laying the bricks down now for how it's going to be feeling a little bit bumpy. And I also keep on feeling that, making sure that, because something, as we're going into the weekend, something crazy always happens on a Friday, especially when it comes to the financials and things. So making sure that you're prepared for anything that comes down the chute. Okay? And that's important. Of course, it's the 9 of Swords. Watch your overthinking, your overwhelmness. If you are needing to seek out help and get help with this, reach out to, if you need a health worker or what have you, or if you are wanting a reading and to go into your natal chart, reach out and book an appointment, because the overwhelmness is definitely there. The overthinking and the processing. This is where, and especially with the Mercury retrograde in Virgo, taking that step back, taking that breath is really, really important. Let's get some clarification. Yeah, because we're feeling deceived. We're feeling that deceit. So we're feeling the overwhelmness because there's deceit there. There's so feeling somewhere in our life that truth is not being told. So the deceit comes in. Is there a clarity with that? Yeah, there's should have shuffled more. The 5 of Wands. So there is going to be conflict. There is going to be people coming in with their passion, with everything, and feeling their justification. But this is where we have to listen, because sometimes we don't like to hear what the other person has to say. Sometimes we don't want to hear what the other person has to say because we've already formed an outcome in it. But this is where it's like, okay, we need to take things in stride and just sort of, if there's criticism, maybe it's something we can utilize. Maybe it isn't. Maybe it is something that we don't agree with, and that's okay as well. So take everything step by step. Be careful. There's a lot of people out there that are going to be extremely angry, frustrated, overwhelmed with everything. And we're going to be finding more and more people are going to be in the financial straits and needing help. And so being open and being able to help where you can. Sending you guys out so much love in a world that feels like it's on fire, but it's not. There's still love, peace, compassion, and most of all, bring in the hope. All right? Have a blessed day, and we'll talk to you all very soon. Okay? Bye-bye. Bye.